trainer and a COVID is simply not an option. It comes back to why was there a need to stay at home, right? If the case is for safety, then what we're doing is trying to make those places where people are having to go to work more safe. I'll take the markets, for example. We've been doing some work with improving market conditions, making sure there's water there, providing masks for women who are going to be there because they have no choice. But I guess I want to come back to you, Itua. Overall, for you, would you say that the benefits of working from home have outweighed the stresses, the negatives? Could you imagine doing it permanently, Itua?
Yes, sure. I think I could actually. I think what I would expect though from my employer is putting more things in place to enable people to do this long term. But on the flip side, I want to balance it out with the option of coming into the office maybe 2 or 3 times a week,
Yeah.
just to have that human interaction, which is so important for what I do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you to her. And she's absolutely right. That human interaction is what I miss most about not being able to turn to a colleague and chat about your weekend or discuss whatever program you're watching. And that can really lead to people feeling lonely, and loneliness is a real issue. And Karen, I want to bring you in here because loneliness is something you've been trying to combat long before the pandemic. What led you to decide to tackle loneliness?
What got us started, my co-founders and I, was a friend of mine who worked as a nurse at a children's ward, and she was mentioning how these kids were faring, and what struck me was how she talked about them. They were only speaking to their parents, they were so bored, and they couldn't really grasp why these kids weren't socially connected. Like, they have iPads, they have computers, they have phones, they have everything. Like, why should a hospital bed be a barrier to them at all? And then we started doing some research, and that became point of no return because none of the tools that these kids had actually enabled them to participate. The school wasn't rigged for them to attend through technology. Nothing was really there to support them catching up with these day-to-day events. They had ways to look in, but not to be there. So we ended up making a telepresence robot for kids specifically, so that they can remote control their robot from their sick bed and be in class and talk to their friends and